My favorite line in the show is Foss going, "Bleh," a million times. Save me. Mari Krombu Weebs. My name is Cole. His name is Mike. His name is Jay. We like anime. And this is episode 29 of the Anime Protagonist podcast. And on this week's episode, we will be reviewing one of my all-time favorite shows, Land of the Lustrous. But before we get into any of that, Michael, Jay, Mike, what's on your mind?
Oh my goodness. You know what's on my mind?
What? I asked you.
I know you asked me, but I wanted to.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of how to set this up. Okay. How bloody expensive everything is getting these days.
Yeah.
It is too inflated right now. Too inflated, too furious.
The market's like a balloon, too inflated.
Yeah, exactly.
I assumed when you wrote down what's on our mind in the docs, when you wrote too inflated, too furious, I thought that was like you're gaining weight or something.
Wow, calling Mike fat.
But that's just probably me projecting onto you. So.
Unfortunately, that is probably also true. But I won't be gaining weight for long because I won't be able to afford to eat soon.
Right.
Join the club.
Inflation. Yeah,
Me
it
neither.
is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I went to the grocery store earlier today, and what normally would have cost me, I'd guess like $130, $140 was $190, and I was like, yeah. That's what I said out loud as I tapped my credit card. I said,
Just a capital A.
Yep, huge capital A.
Gargura.
Confused face. Yep. A lot of reverb.
Yeah.
I'll do it one more time. That's a lot of reverb.
I love it. That's a lot of reverb. The other thing that's on my mind is I started watching Obi-Wan finally, and I'm enjoying it. Yes, I'm on episode 4. I watched it with my wife. It is very interesting. It is, like someone at my work said, Darth Vader. It really should just be called like Darth Vader the prequel, like continues, I guess, because honestly the best scenes on that show are when Darth Vader's in it.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Darth
Vader's
Daddy.
awesome. You know what's cool about Darth Vader in Obi-Wan? The voice. The voice sounds really good, right? Like
It's James Earl Jones.
It's not though.
Is that Eden?
It's well, we don't know if it's James Earl Jones's voice or Hayden Christensen's voice that was modulated to sound like that.
Oh, I looked it up. I thought it said James Earl Jones reprised his role.
No, it just says James Earl Jones is the voice of Darth Vader. But then later on in the credits, it says voice modulation services provided by some company.
Oh, that is very interesting.
Yeah, and it sounds like
perfect.
Darth Vader sounds really good in that. Yeah.
It's perfect.
Darth Vader's the best part of that show.
Speaking of
absolutely.
amazing shows, Jay, can you tell me what's on your mind?
I can't wait to hear about this amazing manga and or show that Jay is going to talk to us.
Are you kidding?
About
It's probably a light novel.
You're really putting the pressure on me. No, I am talking about a manga this week, and it is a manga.
Is it good?
No.
Oh.
I wish it were, but it actually is very bad. And this week I am talking about Rent a Girlfriend because my gosh, is this show or is this manga so stupid? You know those times where you're looking at a car crash and like you want to look away, you want to stop looking at it because it's just one of the worst things you've seen, but like you just need to see what happens.
Yeah.
That's
it's like that for me, except I stopped because it was so bad.
That's Rent a Girlfriend for me. The best way I can describe Rent a Girlfriend in like 2 words is actually never mind.
Yeah. That was me reading it.
As someone who's read 1 volume, aka like 4 chapters of Rent a Girlfriend. Yeah, I think I texted you earlier in the week, Jay, and was like, I kind of want to read more. But I just can't justify spending money on this.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, I bought the 1 volume. I think that's all the amount of money I can spend on it.
Yeah, that's enough.
Yeah.
Once you've read 1 volume, you basically got the gist of the story.
Oh, yeah,
I'm sure.
There's not much more happening there. Yeah.
Like, so at the point in the manga, spoilers, I guess. If you care, you really shouldn't care. But if you care for whatever reason, they've gotten to the point where they're basically telling each other how they feel about each other. And it's basically gotten to Mizuhara's like, I don't think I like you, but I'm not quite sure yet. But like, hold on to that thought. and I'll get back to you.
It sounds like a really bad manga.
Yeah, it is.
Honestly, I'm starting to grow on me.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe the good show vibe was actually correct.
Maybe.
Maybe.
There's no way to know.
I doubt it.
I doubt
I
it.
doubt it, though.
But maybe it'll continue because Cole, what's on your mind?
Oh,
Ooh.
nice segue. Just threw me right off. But I was prepared for this week, actually. Gentlemen, I have a question for you.
Yes, what is it?
We might have an answer.
Why is the color yellow so yellow?
Why is the color yellow so yellow?
That is
It's
a very
just so
interesting
yellow.
question, yeah.
No, actually, this week I had the pleasure of watching a new anime, new to me anyway, called Senryu Girl.
Ooh.
Yes.
See, I was just about to
Go
respond to you that it's because visible yellow light has a wavelength about 570 nanometers.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for answering that question.
Please
for
tell me about your show.
It's just, I've come to realize something as I age as an anime fan, gentlemen. I just really like some nice, soft shows.
Mm-hmm.
Just nice and soft. Aharon-san right now, so good.
It is, honestly.
It's so good. It's so
I'm gonna be
so
the
nice.
dissenting voice there in our
Jay,
in our
this is
seasonal
my
wrap-up.
time.
Okay.
Enough! No more speaking!
Shut up!
Yeah.
It's my time to speak. Like Senko-san as well. It's just so soft and enjoyable. And this one was like that too. Basically, the main character can only speak in haiku, which is
Oh, I know that series.
kind
know
of
what
an
you're talking
annoying
about.
premise.
I haven't seen it yet,
and-
but I've heard of it.
And guess who the main girl is voiced by?
Kana Hanazawa.
You know it. So good.
Cool.
And the episodes are only like 10 minutes long, so
it's
that's
a
also
short.
nice. Yeah, I think the episodes are 15 minutes long, I should
Okay.
say. Not 10 minutes, so.
That seems like
It's
a
kinda
very
like
easy
that.
watch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I watched it in like 2 days after work each day.
Nice.
Yeah. Very, very good. Anyway, that's what's on my mind, and that's what was on both of your minds?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. Very good. How about we talk about the news? What's in the news, boys?
We really should plan on who's going to talk about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I just quickly wrote some names in here. Who wants to go first for this? Who wants to talk about? I guess I could, since I'm talking right now.
Yeah, go for it.
You are speaking.
Okay, well, listen, guys. Do you guys know a little show called Trigun?
Yeah.
No.
Has anyone watched this show?
No.
Never heard
No.
of it.
Neither have I. Well, Jay, it's a classic anime series. It came out in, as I quickly click the anime list thing here that I have linked.
I'm going to say mid to late 90s.
Oh, that's a good guess.
I was
Jay,
going to
what's
say
your
early
guess?
2000s.
I thought you'd never heard of it.
Well, I can
Oh,
still
got it.
guess.
It came out in spring of 1998, also known as, I'm pretty sure, the same year that Evangelion came out.
Oh.
Everything that I've heard says it still holds up pretty well, but
I've heard good things about it.
yes. Toho and Crunchyroll have announced that Trigun Stampede, a new anime series arriving in 2023, will be based on the beloved classic anime and manga Trigun. The new series is being produced by Studio Orange, who also did Beastars and Land of the Lustrous. It's an interesting little tie-in there to later in this episode.
I have some things to say about this.
And
I'm sorry for hyping you up, Cole.
Yeah, Jay, don't. This is why we don't listen to leaks. Jay would leak something to you there.
Yeah.
I wasn't leaking anything. I was just saying it could be.
Yeah.
Wow,
they were
Studio
posting-
Orange is hyping something up. Oh,
Yeah.
great. I can't wait for my gem folk.
Cole was
Oh, no. Trigun.
Cole was literally vibrating when he found that out. And then,
Yeah.
yeah.
Were you
No.
with him when I sent that to him?
No, I could just feel
No.
the vibrations.
Oh,
Yeah,
the gem vibrations.
that's
It
right.
was just
Yeah.
gem vibrations.
Hmm.
So they've also announced that it's going to have an all-new staff and cast for this anime, and Crunchyroll will be simulcasting this from Japan in more than 200 countries around the world. More info is going to be shared about it at the Anime Expo in 2022 on Saturday, July 2nd at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And just kind of, none of us, I don't think, know much about the original Trigun, so I threw a little, synopsis in here. Vash the Stampede is a wanted man with a habit of turning entire towns into rubble. The price on his head is a fortune, and his path to destruction reaches across arid wastelands of a desert planet. Unfortunately, most encounters with the spiky-haired gunslinger don't end well for bounty hunters who catch up with him. Someone almost always gets hurt, and it's never Vash. Oddly enough, for such an infamous fugitive, there's no proof that he's ever taken a life. In fact, he's a pacifist with a donut obsession who's more doofus than desperado.
Sounds like me.
Yeah.
Honestly, this seems like I've heard. Obviously, we've all heard of Trigun before, but I feel like Mike would really like Trigun.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
Feels like a Mike show.
It really does.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else is a Mike show?
Oh, lots of stuff is Mike shows. Who's talking about this next one?
Cole, take it.
Okay, I'll take it. It was my story. Gundam, the Witch from Mercury anime reveals staff, story, characters, mecha. There was no end, so the list goes on. Bandai Namco. Oh no, I read so well last week, and now I'm screwing up.
It's
already.
okay. Just roll with it.
The pressure is so intense.
Bandai Namco Filmworks revealed the staff, story, new character, and mobile suit visuals on Friday for Mobile Suit Gundam, the Witch from Mercury.
Ooh.
That's how you have to read it. The company also revealed the July 14th debut date for the project prequel anime, Mobile Suit Gundam, the Witch from Mercury Prologue. Oh, what a name. Bandai Namco describes the prequel as a full-fledged project that will feature its own story and mobile suits, including the Gundam Lifrith and, oh no, Bejur Bell?
Bo?
Bejur Bell?
I'm gonna guess.
Bell!
I'm gonna guess it's Begwer Bo.
Bell! And then you wrote Cole beside it.
Yeah, why are you writing Cole?
Because he
wants me to read it.
I wanted to see if you'd say, my name's Cole.
The anime's website describes the story thusly: A.S. Odd Stella. Oh, jeez.
Something like the year.
Odd Stella. That's the age that it takes place in. That's
yeah.
the timeline of this.
Yeah.
122, an era where a multitude of corporations have entered space and built a huge economic system. A lone girl from the remote planet Mercury transfers to the
Astacasia? Yeah.
Whatever. You both said
Astacasia?
it.
Who cares?
Anyway, that school of technology run by the Bennett Group, which dominates the mobile suit industry. Sounds like Bene Gesserit, but her name is Sutella Mercury, appropriate for somebody from Mercury. With scarlet light burning in her pure heart, this girl walks step by step through a new world. I just want to read some of the character names because we got some quality Gundam names, boys.
Oh god.
So
are you ready?
Yes. Should I quickly explain to Jay and the people who aren't familiar with Gundam that Gundam...
Let's just say some of the best names in Gundam. Okay, so we got Char Aznable, of course. Classic.
Yeah.
We got Amuro Ray.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Classic.
We got the king of the weird Gundam names, Banagir Lynx.
Yeah,
terrific.
That's pretty good. There's some good ones in this show too.
Yeah, such as
I have
Suletta Mercury.
That's a good one,
as we've already mentioned.
Yeah.
Miorine Rembrandt.
Mm-hmm. That sounds like an anagram for membrane.
Yes.
I really like this next one you're gonna say.
Guel Jeturk.
Guel Jeturk.
Elan Saris or Karis? Saris, I'm sure.
Probably.
Yeah. Shadik Zenelli?
That's my favorite one.
Yeah. I also like some of the mobile suit names. We got Guels Dilanza?
Dilanza, I think, is probably what that is. Yeah.
Gundam Farect.
Mm-hmm.
That's my new favorite Gundam.
One.
And this one's for you, Michael.
It is. Okay, what's it called?
Michalis.
Oh, nice. And it's even like the purple and white colors that I like so much.
Yeah.
Where's Big Zam?
That one's for you. No.
Yeah,
Big
Big Zam.
Big Zam blew up.
Here's the thing, Jay. Because it said that other timeline, it is confirmed no Big Zam will be in this show.
Well, then I'm not watching it.
Yeah.
No.
And
have you watched the one with Big Zam?
No, but that doesn't matter. That Big Zam is still my favorite Gundam.
Odds of you watching the show with Big Zam.
I'd watch it with you guys.
Okay, it's 50 episodes, I believe. So
that's fine. I'd still watch it with you guys.
Could watch the movies.
We could.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Condenses them down a little bit.
I just want to pull up some names here, Cole, that you didn't mention that are great Gundam names.
Please do.
We got Quattro Bagina.
That's a good one.
Classic. We got Revival.
That's the best name.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
We got Muran.
We're on a High School Host Club.
Yeah. We got Zex Merkis.
Sexy.
And don't forget the favorite Char clone, Full Frontal.
Full Frontal. Oh, I forgot. Full Frontal.
Okay, you know how we should have done this? We should have done this in like a Saturday Night Live kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where like
Yeah. No, there's
I
some
can
Momosu
picture it now.
Gundam.
and how could I
Starring-
forget? How could I forget my favorite? Paptimus Scirocco.
Paptimus Prime.
Optimus Prime.
There's so many good ones, honestly. Mula Flaga. I don't even know. Who cares? It's
Oh,
Gundam's
how
insane.
could I forget? How could I forget Full Frontal?
Man,
That was-
Gundam's names are so weird.
Yeah,
I love it.
I love it.
That's the best thing I've heard all day.
Yep.
Who's reading the next one? I think it's Jay's turn.
I think it's Jay's turn.
Jay. Yeah, you gotta read this one.
Okay, well, speaking of new things coming from older properties, we're getting a One Punch Man movie directed by Justin Lin. You might have heard him
Oh,
as the director of the Fast and Furious movies. We're getting a live action Western One Punch Man film through Sony Pictures. And yeah, this is very weird. Like, the people behind it are scriptwriters Scott Rosenberg and Jeff Pinkner, who previously worked on Venom and Jumanji: The Next Level. Arad Productions,
terrific scripts, by
Yeah,
the way.
yeah.
Just
yeah.
cream of the crop.
Arad Productions, who you would know as the people behind the Spider-Man movies, like Spider-Man: Homecoming and the live-action Ghost in the Shell. And those will be that's basically the producers. And the One Punch Man movie will be going into production by the end of the year, as reported by Deadline.
Haven't we learnt our lesson, boys?
No, apparently not.
Why do we do this?
I would say objectively no.
Well, obviously not.
I'm
Mike, don't say you're
gonna do my
you're looking
usual
for-
thing.
No.
where I say I'm cautiously optimistic about this live action anime adaptation that's going to disappoint me in the end.
I wish I had your positivity. I wish I wasn't so cynical.
I can't remember the exact quote, but I think the director or someone that was working on the film likened Saitama to like superpowered Bruce Lee or something like that.
Oh, okay.
No.
And like
That's not true.
They don't get it then.
no,
we're in
like
trouble.
that's the most like very unreassuring quote I've ever heard. So I'm very nervous.
He's more
about
like
this.
he's more like a super powered Bill Murray in Ghostbusters.
He really
so
reminds
lazy.
me of like a super powered William Van Zant.
Who?
I don't know. I don't
Really
know.
reminds me of a super powered Rory Calhoun.
He's
Yeah.
a super powered what's that one character's name from Gundam that was
Full
really-
Frontal?
Full Frontal?
Full Frontal, yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
Full Frontal already has superpowers.
Well,
Yeah, he's
more
a new type.
superpowers.
He's a new type. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I take the opposite approach as Michael. I will remain uncautiously pessimistic about this.
Well-
Unabashedly pessimistic.
You know what? If it's an hour long, maybe I'll watch it. Speaking of things that
Oh,
are
I'm sure we'll watch it.
that are an hour long.
Man, Jay with the segues.
Ooh, yeah.
Kaguya-sama's final episode will have a 1 hour runtime, Cole. I read it. I read my name beside it.
Good.
The staff for the third season of Kaguya-sama Love is War revealed a new promotional video and key visual. New promotion video and key visual. Which reveal the season's final episode on June 24th will be an hour-long episode. Visual tagline reads, "Goodbye, love comedy." The series will also get a special Kaguya Day project after the final episode broadcast, and it will run for 24 hours. The project will involve looking back at the series with the cast and staff. The swan song of Kaguya-sama until it's back next year.
I don't know. I could see this actually being the end. It'd be a good place to leave off.
Honestly, you're
It's-
probably
it's-
right, considering the manga's in its final arc and it's really close to
It's
ending.
too popular.
I
They'll
know.
keep making it.
I know, but like, yeah,
I feel like there's a
I
very
could see
good chance I feel like there's a very good chance that they like use Oshinoko as kind of like a transition. And all the Kaguya fans will go to Oshinoko.
Is there
Is it
enough?
funny?
Oh,
Is Oshinoko funny?
It's
Then
written
no,
by
they
the same
won't.
guy.
yeah, but it's a
Unless
totally
it's a
different
comedy,
thing.
it's totally different.
Yeah.
It has
Y-
comedic moments in it, but it's not like
Can we just take a moment to all agree on one thing?
what's that?
Kaguya-sama is really, really good.
It is really good.
You know what, Cole? I'm going to take a second here to just say that Kaguya-sama is one of the best anime I've watched.
Yeah, it's so good. Like, it's
It's-
consistently always good.
Yeah.
It's great. It's honestly just great. And there's not much else to say about that, really. It's just a fantastic anime. If you're not watching it, go watch it. This last episode, that's going to be 1 hour long. So that's like 3 episodes right there. I was actually
Mhm.
getting a little nervous about the season because it seemed like it had a lot to cover and not too many episodes left. But now that they're making this last one an hour, it's gonna probably have like a movie budget. Honestly, I could see some pretty crazy stuff happening.
They've been saving the budget for this moment.
There's been a few moments I've noticed where like the budget's been saved a bit, and I'm like, oh, they're saving up.
Ooh, they're doing something here.
Yeah,
They
Something's
saved the
brewing.
budget for this episode and for the rap battle.
yep.
that
The
one
rap
episode.
battle. That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Or they were recovering from the rap battle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And then it'll all end with Chica Dance 2.
Oh, I
I hope
hope
so.
I hope so. That'd be
Yeah.
nice.
Mhm.
In less happy news, voice actor Billy Kametz has passed away at age 35. Kametz revealed in late April that he'd been diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. At the time, he'd stated that he was taking a break from voiceover work and that other voice actors would replace him for his current and ongoing roles. He also said that he was moving back to Pennsylvania to be with his family. Kametz passed away on June 9th. A GoFundMe campaign launched on his behalf a few days after that announcement, and the campaign closed on June 14th, earning $191,000 of his $150,000 goal. And the family has stated that the contributions are going to, the family has stated that they would also appreciate contributions to the Colon Cancer Coalition in Kametz's honor. Billy Kametz was born on March 22nd, 1987 in Pennsylvania. His obituary stated that he had dreamed of becoming an actor since early childhood, and he got his break with Disney as an entertainment member on a Disney cruise line. Notable roles that you might have heard him in if you watch dubs are JoJo's Bizarre Adventure as Josuke, Naofumi in Rising of the Shield Hero, White Blood Cell in Cells at Work, and Rui, the spider demon in Demon Slayer. It's pretty sad news, guys.
Mhm.
Definitely a bummer. 35 is way too
Yeah.
young to go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
way too early.
definitely.
Yeah.
On behalf of all of us, I think you can all agree that our hearts go out to him, his family, and friends, and all of his colleagues as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how we transition out of this kind of sad news into Jay's game corner.
Well, you know what? Kametz did voice a prominent character in a game that I think we all know really well, and that's Dr. Maruki in Persona 5 Royal.
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
yeah,
That
right.
is a great
Yeah,
transition,
yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, I
And-
really enjoyed that character in that game too.
Mhm.
Actually,
Honestly,
Mhm.
he
that was
was a very good character in that game. Probably like one of the better additions to Royal.
the best addition to Persona 5 Royal.
Yes, for sure.
Kasumi's pretty
yeah,
good,
Kasumi.
But, yeah,
No,
but
Kasumi
he's
is
definitely a
a
very
fan
good
fiction
addition.
character.
And now
Kasumi's not real.
it's Jay's game corner.
Welcome to Jay's Game Corner. We've got an exciting little bit of news for you today. Just covering all the things that went on this week, and we have some very exciting news, and we're going to start with our first piece of news, that the Persona series is coming to Xbox and PC and Game Pass, which is super exciting because we are going to be getting Persona 3 Portable, Persona 4 Golden, and Persona 5 Royal all coming to Xbox, and Persona 5 Royal is also going to be coming to PlayStation 5, and that one's going to be coming first on October 21st of this year. Persona 4 Golden and Persona 3 Portable yet to have release dates, but they are probably coming later in 2023. I think there was a graphic saying that they were coming in 2023. And they're also going to be coming to PlayStation consoles as well. This is really exciting just because Persona 4 Golden and Persona 3 Portable for the longest time were trapped on portable consoles like the Vita and PSP, and now they're finally going to be playable on other consoles. I think actually Persona 4 Golden was on PC already, but now we're getting it on other consoles, which is pretty cool.
I'm pretty hyped for this. Actually,
Yeah.
I have been meaning to play the older Persona games, and this is the perfect excuse that I needed.
Oh, absolutely. And okay, have you heard Persona 3's OP?
No.
Okay, it's such a good OP. I'll have to send it to you during the break, but it's like probably my favorite Persona OP. It's like just from visuals to music to everything. It's so well done.
I think Persona 5 takes it. I know that's the normie pick, but man, that soundtrack is so good.
Yeah.
The soundtrack, I
so
agree.
Cool.
The soundtrack,
So
I
cool.
agree. I'm just talking about strictly the OP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's exciting too that Persona 5 Royal is getting a next gen upgrade too. Even
Absolutely.
It's not going to add a ton to it, but I'm curious to see what they do add in that.
Probably another fake character.
Honestly, if I were to guess, it's probably just going to be like 4K 60 FPS kind of thing.
Yeah, it'll just be upscaling.
Yeah,
this is Cole's weekly reminder that Persona 5 Royal is just a fan service DLC that doesn't
It's just a fan fiction.
It's not canon.
It's not real.
It is,
even
canon.
though it is.
It's
canon.
It's not canon.
It is.
Then where
canon.
were they in Strikers, the direct sequel?
We've talked about this before, and it makes me so mad every time.
That's right. You're both wrong.
But you know what
You're
makes
wrong.
me so
Okay,
happy?
well, if that's true, then who does Joker end up with? Exactly. Nobody.
Well, canonically, nobody, but also canonically, Best Girl.
No,
Yes,
that
it
is
was.
incorrect.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
Best Girl
we
is
have
Tifa.
more news.
Honestly, Mike, you're kind of correct.
Best Girl is Yuffie.
Oh,
I stand by it.
No, Tifa Best Girl. Mike,
No.
you stand with me.
Genki Girl all the way. Let's go.
Well, speaking of
She's a
Final
ninja.
Yeah, that is.
She's a ninja.
That is
Cole,
a good point, but Tifa's really cute and also really badass, and yeah, Tifa. But speaking of Final Fantasy VII, we got a big Final Fantasy VII 25th anniversary live stream that happened. What was it? Yesterday?
As of recording yesterday or the day before, I can't remember.
I think it was Wednesday. Anyway,
that was
so that happened, and we got a ton of news from that. Our top story from that is that the Final Fantasy VII remake will be a trilogy. That is right. We're not just getting one game. We're not just getting two games, but we are getting 3 games to tell this story of Final Fantasy VII, with the second entry being announced at that conference called Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. We got a short little snippet gameplay trailer of Cloud and Sephiroth traveling through the wilderness together, and just like a brief conversation between Cloud and Aerith. And the game is looking to come out in winter 2023. So, mark your calendars and get a PS5 if you need, because it is going to only be on PS5.
That's exciting to me. Yeah.
Finally,
we're getting exclusives.
Yes.
They can just finally move forward and like actually utilize the hardware.
Yeah, no, and honestly, like just from the trailer, it looks really good.
Yeah.
I will be able to play this game exclusively on my PlayStation 5.
Yeah,
Insert
I'm really
Cole's
excited.
Drop that hasn't ever materialized yet.
Michael, obviously you don't listen to it because I do have a drop for
He
it.
did
Here
do
it is
it.
right here.
He did do it once.
Wow.
Whoa,
really good drop.
that was such a cool sound. But yeah, I'm really excited just because remake was just Midgar, and in the original game you're open to the world map right after Midgar. So this is going to be a completely open world experience.
Whoa, Jay's revealing it here first. This game will be completely open world.
Yeah. I think
Jay's
that was
got the scoops.
I think that was been announced somewhere, but like just looking at where the original game ended and what happened afterward, I wouldn't be surprised if it was completely open world.
You're probably right, or like close to it.
Yeah, or something like Tales, where like there's a completely open map and like they point you in a direction to go, but like you can go wherever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm curious here because if you watch I don't know if you've played Final Fantasy VII or you kind of just are familiar with it. There's a pretty famous event involving one of the characters that happens, and in this trailer they kind of, I don't want to say they tease it, but it's the only word I can think of, but they kind of tease that maybe they're gonna change that.
I remember after many people beat the first game, so many people were speculating that was going to happen.
Yeah, and this one kind of threw some more gas on the fire, in my opinion. And if you know what we're talking, if you kind of aren't entirely sure what we're talking about Aerith or Aeris, depending on whether you play the English or whatever. It's interesting for sure.
It's a very interesting thing, and like it feels like it's like a follow-up to the original Final Fantasy VII for fans, because like it like if you know the original Final Fantasy VII story, you know what's being changed, and like you kind of can go along with that. But if you haven't played it, like it's still a great, interesting story for Final Fantasy VII, and I'm really interested to see where it goes. Mike, have you played the original?
I've played the original. I haven't played the remake yet, actually.
Okay, gotcha. So I guess you'd know more about this than me because I haven't played 7. But yeah, it'll be a very interesting thing, just like from both of us, one having only played the remake and the other having played the original.
Right. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to talk about it when that is finally said and done. But we do have a quote from the creative director Nomura, who you would know is the creative director of Kingdom Hearts. He also does this game. And he says, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is being designed so that people can enjoy this game whether they know the original game or not. In fact, new players might even enjoy starting their Final Fantasy VII journey with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Cloud and his friends embark on a new journey in this game, and I believe that the scenes that they will witness after leaving Midgar will give players a fresh, new experience. I can't wait to share the intention behind naming the first title Remake and the second title Rebirth.
Oh, are we looking at an Evangelion parallel timeline situation here?
I think so.
Oh,
a rebuild of Evangelion?
I think
it is already, because like they've already deviated from stuff. So yeah,
interesting.
And that was like the big twist of the first one, that they
Yeah.
deviated from stuff.
Oh,
and it's like I was saying earlier. It seems like they're going to deviate from some pretty major events.
Cool. Have you played the remake?
a little bit.
Okay, and you know those ghosts that like sometimes appear?
No,
Oh, okay, never mind that.
I didn't get that far, I guess.
Okay.
I've been thinking about like picking it up and just restarting it.
It is a good game. I'd say like the gameplay's a lot of fun, but just like
I just can't handle how beautiful everyone in that game is. It's intimidating.
That's the best part. Even in like the old one, like the cutscenes are like, how is this so nice? Like, how does everyone look so beautiful? That's signature
everyone
Final Fantasy.
Everyone looks like
a model.
Yeah, too perfect.
Yeah.
It scares me.
That's this Final Fantasy look, though. Like,
yeah.
I remember playing Final Fantasy X as a kid and being like, how are they all so hot? Like, what is happening here?
Yeah.
Speaking of hot, though, can you tell me if any Final Fantasy games are coming to PC and Xbox soon?
Oh, that is a good question. Well, the PC version of Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade is now available on Steam after being exclusively available on the Epic Games Store. And apparently, the game is also Steam Deck compatible.
That's hype for the Steam Deck
hype.
I don't have, but want.
Cole, do you have one?
Yeah, I got one.
Whoa.
You're
it's
so
right here.
full of dookie.
Damn.
For the listeners, Cole just put his middle finger up to the camera that you can't see.
I'm looking at the doc. Oops.
You missed it. Here, let me just rewind it for you.
Oh, there's the disrespect.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for. Honestly, guys, I haven't played any Final Fantasy games, so
you know what? Like for the listeners,
you
Cole,
you just told me for the first time that Kingdom Hearts is basically Final Fantasy, and I didn't know that.
Yeah,
even though Yuffie best girl, I know that. I know enough about that to know that Yuffie's
a popular best girl along with Tifa.
That's not a bad take.
Yeah,
we were just bugging you.
No. Honestly, like none of the girls in Final Fantasy VII are like bad takes if you say that they're best girl.
Yeah.
But speaking of more Final Fantasy VII news, the Final Fantasy VII train continues because a mobile game called Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis is planned to be released in monthly episodic installments. The game retells events from the 1997 game, the original Final Fantasy VII, as well as its spin-offs, and chapters can be selected from a timeline, allowing the players to jump between different points in the series. The battle system draws from the original game's ATB to active battle time system, and the title will be free to play, but will offer loot boxes and that kind of ordeal.
That's kind of a
game's
bummer.
already out.
Oh, is it? I honestly don't. There's some things that were out now, and there's some things that were out next year. I was kind of not sure which was which.
Let me just double check that. No, it's still coming out. Okay, no, it's not out yet.
As soon as I was initially pretty hyped for this because I thought it was just like a mobile port of Final Fantasy VII, but it's just not.
I know they announced this before because they did that, and then they also had the Battle Royale game that they announced.
Yeah,
I think that's the one that's out, but Anyway,
Yeah.
just mobile games essentially. And then we got a full remaster of the PSP game Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core, which is being called Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. And it will be released this winter on PC, Nintendo Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Series X. The game focuses on Zack Fair, a member of Soldier, and who is the owner of the Buster Sword before Cloud Strife. And yeah, this is essentially a prequel to Final Fantasy VII. I'm really excited for this because I've heard really good things about Crisis Core, but I've never played it. So
yeah, it's kind of like what we said earlier about the Persona 5, Persona 3, and Persona 4 coming to the new gen. It's exciting because they're bringing these games back in kind of a more accessible medium. Because like if you didn't have a PSP, you basically weren't playing those games.
Absolutely, yeah. It's kind of like what they did with Birth by Sleep. They made it accessible.
Yeah,
which is good.
Accessible.
Yeah.
Good.
Should we?
That was a lot of Final Fantasy news.
Yeah, Cole was just sitting there like so bored. He's like, I don't care about Final Fantasy. Please stop. Please stop.
Well, no, it's not that I don't care. I just haven't played it.
Yeah.
I'm not as invested in it as you guys are. I haven't caught the bug yet, but maybe I will soon. No. I was listening intently. What do you say we go to our mailbag?
I think it's time we go to our mailbag.
Wow.
Whoa. Mike,
what a concept.
Do you have our mailbag on you?
Hold on. I'm going to pull it out here. No, I don't.
Oh.
Hold on. I think I have it. Let me just reach for it. Yeah, it's right here.
Oh, he got
there.
Me.
It is. Wow.
He got me. Honestly, like I don't know which mailbag we go to.
Did you just put it back, Jay?
What?
For the audience's enjoyment, Jay reached down, pulled up the old bird, and then like went and put it like back in his pocket.
He like
save it for later. What's in the mailbag?
Okay, mailbag time. We have many mailbags, and I don't know which one to tackle. I'm going to quickly tackle the first one that I see here. Kratos and Eggs wants to know, since I'm playing Doki Doki, they have a 2-part question. Part 1, my current best girl after the first ending. And part 2, this is for when you finish the game. Did your best girl change or stay the same? Well, I don't know if I have a best girl in this one, honestly, so I don't know if that answers your question, but if I kind of the one I was most inclined to romance was probably Natsuki, just because I kind of lean towards Tsundere's tech usually. They also want to know what if we had to pick one option between Zoro as our navigator or Luffy as our cook, who would you pick? And we can all three answer this one.
Okay.
Mike,
I'm going to say I'd rather have Zoro as my navigator than Luffy as my cook. Because at least, you know what, you're going to be lost, but you're eating good. And food is important to me.
I agree with that. And I think, like, if you're lost, you're going on an adventure, right?
Yeah.
If you're going exactly where you want to go, that's boring most of the time.
Yeah.
But, like, if you're and here's the thing, Zoro's also, like, an amazing swordsman. So, like, and just because he's your navigator doesn't mean he can't fight.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cole, these characters that you know so well?
No, I'd probably agree, because I'm going to assume that Luffy is a very, very bad cook.
I wouldn't, honestly, he'd probably be a better as a cook than Zoro would be as a navigator, if I had to.
But he might also eat your food.
He'd probably eat your food, too. Yeah. He's a glutton.
You know what, just as the dissenting voice, I think I'll go Luffy as the cook then. Because then at least it'll be a quick journey if somebody else is navigating.
Yeah.
Of course.
Nami's
yes, One Piece, famously
a quick journey.
Quick journey.
Famously a very quick journey that doesn't meander and take forever and is pointless, arguably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can see Michael's face just becoming more enraged as I speak.
I just feel so much rage in my heart all the time. It's normal.
I know.
How dare you?
I'm so enraged, I think we should take a break.
Yeah, we gotta talk about this.
I think we're just gonna need to cool down, take a break, and then we'll come back when we're ready to be nice with each other.
Yeah,
or
when
tolerate
that's
each other.
Gonna be.
Yeah, that sounds more right. I think you're right.
I don't know if I'll ever be able to. What are we talking about after the break?
Land of the Lustrous.
Okay,
gonna
I
review
can
it.
tolerate you guys for a little bit longer.
Oh, perfect.
Spoilers,
good.
I love this show.
And with that,
Break. Break. What about Nickelback? Speaking of Nickelback, welcome back to the Anime Protagonist Podcast. We are this week going to discuss a hidden gem. I really butchered that, but we're going to discuss a hidden gem in anime this week. Gem being the key word because we are talking about Land of the Lustrous.
gem.
That word's lost all meaning to me.
Yeah, that is a gem.
A gem.
It is a gem.
How are we going to be tackling this, Jay? Let us know.
We are going to be doing our typical review discussion format where we start off by discussing OP, ED, sound, VAs, visuals, and things like that, and then give you guys our brief thoughts on the show, whether we think you should watch it, yay or nay. And then we will, at that point, let you know that we are going to hop into spoiler territories, talk about the plot, and just give you an overview on our thoughts on the plot and characters, and then give you our ending thoughts and final scores. So, if you don't want to listen to spoilers, this is the part that you will listen to, and then later on we will say, okay, stop watching, this is when we get into spoiler territory, and at that point, go watch the show, then come back and come listen to our spoiler discussion.
Spoilers for whether or not Jay recommends this show, because he just said go watch it.
Well, I mean...
Also, go watch it.
They watch the show and then they come back and Jay's like, yeah, you shouldn't have wasted your time with the show.
Yeah, joke's on you.
You ruined my plan!
Stupid show about rocks.
How'd you know I was gonna say the first thing in our spoiler discussion? Yeah, you shouldn't have watched that.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's begin our discussion, boys.
Yes.
Let's do it.
With AniPro's patented OP discussion.
OP
What
discussion,
did you guys think
yeah.
of the OP of this show, and why was it fire?
Oh, it's very good. I think you submitted it in episode 13, and it was the show that I gave my my trap card to.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very good OP, just like with the visuals, the song. I love like how calm it is, and then like it just like gives you like a slight like fire when like it picks up slightly.
Well, and it just tells a little story.
Yeah,
like, through its visuals. Just the visuals of it. You know? Like it's about Foss waking up, and then like at the end of it, she's choosing to do her own thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like she's choosing to walk her own path.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it's not a spoiler.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah.
It's just mentally, she's not. She comes out of her shell.
Mm-hmm. It really highlights the main like thesis point of the show really well, and I thought that was really good.
Yeah, and like as you guys said, the visuals are stunning for this show.
Yeah. Oh,
and
like, absolutely.
The OP is no exception.
Yeah.
It's one of my all-time favorite OPs. Like I could just watch it at any time.
Yeah. No, it's definitely really good. I'd probably say like while it's very good, I could find myself like skipping it sometimes if I weren't someone who doesn't skip OPs, but like I still really like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say you need to watch it every episode, but it's just nice. I like the song a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good song. And I mean, like that at the start of it, where like Foss wakes up. Oh,
it's cute. It's comfy.
Cute.
Yeah,
so cute.
Yeah.
What about the ED?
I like the ED. It's not
ED
as
too.
good, but I know one of us has a different opinion on that.
Oh, I like the ED, and let me just say that I like the ED because it reminds me of the previously released PV that they did for the Land of the Lustrous as a manga, where it was like hand drawn instead of CGI.
Oh, I'd never seen
like
that. Actually,
the character models look much more like that, and I just thought it was a bit different. comparatively to
Honestly,
or the show itself?
For me, I felt like the OP is leagues better than the ED. The ED really didn't do anything for me. It was just kind of that song that plays at the end of the show to show who worked on it, and that's really all it did for me. And to do that, it was fine, but it didn't really like blow me away. Like the OP really like pulled me into the show.
Mm-hmm.
I'll kind of agree with that. Like it doesn't. It's not as stunning. It doesn't really get you as excited, but it is, as far as EDs go, pretty good.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's much more reminiscent of the manga as well, just in like the the palette of it. Like it's very black, and then all of the characters are drawn over the black background. So it's, I don't know, kind of reminded me of that a little bit too.
It's a little more tame too. Like it's a little more subdued than.
Yeah.
Not that this is like a bombastic anime or anything, but yeah, it is. It definitely is a different feel to it.
It's got some hype action scenes.
Oh, absolutely, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, honestly, the camera work, animation, and everything in the action scenes are like really like stunning, but we'll get to that later.
For now, let's talk about sound design, I guess, and music.
Sound design,
voice actors?
soundtrack.
Soundtrack for the show is
phenomenal.
Unbelievable.
Unreal. The theme for the Lunarians is like one of the highlights for me. I love that theme, and like it fits the theme of what that like entity is so well. It has like a creepy vibe, an unreal, like an otherworldly vibe. It feels like very alien, and like I love that theme.
Yeah, and also like the use of like more traditional like Buddhist instruments, the bells and stuff like that. Very because I'm not sure if you noticed, there's a lot of Buddhism industry in this show.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I think it's Buddhist and Tao, like all sorts of like Eastern religions in this one.
Yeah. But I mean, just in general, like the soundtrack is so cool. Like whether it's the Lunarian stuff or like just the standard soundtrack is like just like cool, like jazzy piano and stuff. Yeah, very très bien.
I was excited for this section actually because this is probably the first show that we've watched for this show where the sound actually is kind of like notable, and like while you're watching it, it definitely is something you notice. Like a lot of anime, they'll just go for like generic or just kind of more subtle stuff, whereas this one, like it really feels like the soundtrack is almost a character. Like it amplifies so much of the show.
Yeah, definitely,
absolutely.
Yeah, it leads your emotion in the right way.
I was gonna say it's like almost a character, you know what I mean? Like it really, but it really is just more like an amplifier.
It's really a good player in driving the story home for people, which is
as cliche as that is. The music is a character in the show, I'd say.
Yeah.
And another thing that this show has leagues over. Another thing that the show has in spades over any other show is just the sound design in general. Like the little like clunks and
clinks and things that the gems make. Yeah,
when the gems hit like the floor or something like that,
or like them shattering, or just anything. Like it sounds so.
When the two amethyst twins smash their heads together, it's just like
clink. Yeah.
No, that's something I noticed a lot in my rewatch this time, was like just how good everything sounds. Like it's like they went out and just recorded what it sounds like when rocks are hit against each other.
Yeah. No, it sounds like
honestly did.
It sounds very accurate to what like you're seeing on screen, and it feels like that's what you're hearing. Which
because they're not squishy. They're rock people.
They're rock people. Yeah.
they're painted rock people. Which I always find funny that they paint themselves to have like white skin.
Yeah, it's like, why are you doing that?
Why are you doing that?
I like how they leave their fingernails, so like their nails will have the color of their gem.
And their hair too.
Yeah.
And
like, I mean, this is kind of going out of the territory of sound, more into visuals, but like, and character design. But I love how like their hair, like it looks like hair, but like it's more like a gel of the gem that they are. So like it waves, but like it waves in more of like a crystalline way. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I think that's just an artistic choice. I think it is supposed to be like hair.
Yeah, no,
like
it's just like
strands of the gem.
Yeah, no, it just really feels like it makes it more gem-like.
I think it depends which gem it is too, because if you look in the final episode, they do some kind of close-up shots on Cinnabar's hair, and it definitely, like, there are strands to her hair.
Yeah, it looks
Foss
like
is more gem-like.
Yeah, it looks like like a gel kind of.
Yeah.
And it's got like translucency to it.
And I suppose they're all different gems with different hardness and different properties and that. So
I watched a video, I think by Canapa Effect, just before recording this actually, and they were saying like they put so much care into even how the light passes through the hair, and how each gem has different reflectivity to them.
Yeah.
So like Daya's hair is very, very reflective, whereas some other hair like Bort, it's just dense. So like light doesn't pass through it quite as much. Yeah, they put a lot of work into this show. What about the voice acting? This is where we can talk about the differences, because Michael watched a different show than us.
I did, yeah.
Let me lead off by saying I love the voice acting in this show so much.
Yeah.
And it's because of Foss's voice.
I remember...
My favorite line in the show is Foss going, "Bleh," a million times. Yeah, no, just the little noises that she makes and stuff. I mean, I sent you guys the video there of just Foss noises compilation. And that was just part 1. There's a part 2 of that.
Oh, God. Yeah, no, when you sent me that, I had only finished episode 1. So I heard that happening and I was like, okay, I'm going to listen out for it. And it happens very frequently. And like, that's just the voice actor having fun in the booth.
Well, that's just like, that's just her knowing that that's how you breathe life into a character.
Yeah.
It's like all those little like incidental grunts and breathing and
that's acting. That's acting.
Yeah. And then I mean, just the supporting cast around her too is
Saori Hayami.
Yeah, well, for like she's like the most incidental character.
Look, Saori Hayami is Saori Hayami, okay?
Let me just say that Ayane Sakura in this show, you didn't even know it was her. Like she's an incredible voice actor. It's like how she can change her voice so much to go from like very high energy Yotsuba and Quince to low energy Bort in this show. Like that's awesome. But I think Jay and I probably have similar opinions on this. We both agree the voice acting is top notch. Some of the best.
Absolutely.
Some of the best. Mike, how was the dub though?
Oh, I watched this one sub.
Oh, did you actually?
No, I'm kidding. I tried watching an episode of it, and then I was just like, the dub's just easier. And I've already seen it too, so I was like, I'd like to just have it on. The dub is also very good. There's pretty much everything you guys said. They kind of just one for one it with the dub. Do we got Foss noises though? Well, yeah, like all her noises are basically cued to her animation, right? So they can't have them not in it. But I would say they're not as good as the video you sent. I didn't realize that was a meme, by the way. I had no idea.
Yeah, no, and it's not just Foss, it's Kumiko too from
Sound Euphonium.
Euphonium.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, because she does the same thing in that show too, where she just that's how she acts. It's great.
Yeah.
And I read the manga too, and like, she does. That's kind of just true to who Foss is. Really, she just kind of reacts a lot early on in the show. Yeah.
I want to talk to you about the manga, maybe off air. I'm curious how far you got into it.
Yeah.
If you got to the best manga panel.
I own the first volume of the manga, but I haven't read it yet. I probably should.
You probably should. It's a pretty easy thing to answer. I just read as up to the end of this season. So chapter 36 is what I read up to.
Oh, okay. So you haven't read forward.
Yeah. And I will say that the visuals in the manga are very interesting to compare to the visuals in the anime.
Yes, definitely almost opposites of one another.
Yes.
Because like I always say, the manga is very dark, like aesthetically, not necessarily in tone, but like just visually, it's a very dark manga. Whereas this show is an absolute rainbow of color and light and beauty. Yeah. It's beautiful.
It honestly, both are beautiful in my opinion. It's just like you said, they're opposites. Like the manga does a good job of using light and dark, and they'll just have like an entire panel that's like black except for one thing, and they do that in the show too. But like you can't recreate the gem's hair glistening and the radiance of Daya's hair, you know, like,
well, and just the different colors of them.
Yeah, no, you just can't. Like, I felt like I was actually tempted to read the colored version of it, just purely to have the different hair colors and stuff.
Yeah.
But we're talking about the show here. The show looks great. The kind of the elephant in the room is that it's entirely CG, 3D CG anime.
Which,
but
like,
they did it right.
I mean, Orange is just really good at 3D CG. Like, even like not just Land of the Lustrous, but like things like Beastars or whatever whatever they do, their 3D animation is so good. So like,
yeah. The thing with this one, again, like if anybody's interested in like seeing more of like how the animation was done, definitely go check out Canapa Effects. Let's link it in the description. Yeah,
I'll put it in the Discord.
Yeah, but they go into like how the faces, for example, where the animation was based on somebody hand animating it initially. So somebody would hand animate it and then they would just draw over top of that on the computer. So that's why the faces are still very anime-like and not like, say, Knights of Sidonia or something like that, where they're a little bit more wooden.
Or X-Arm, where some are 2D and some are 3D animation.
Yeah, it's not a puppet going... It's an actual... Like, it looks like anime.
Yeah.
It's because they intentionally tried to keep it as anime-like as possible. And I mean, yeah, the 3D lends itself so well to action and camera motion and stuff like that, too. Just the direction of it, like... Again, some of the fight scenes in it are so good just in the way that the camera moves. How it's really only Ufotable that does something like that. Like, honestly, Studio Orange doesn't get enough credit for doing stuff that Ufotable does as well. They just don't do it as often. I wish Studio Orange did more.
I think they should get a lot of credit because they're brave enough to go fully CG, which just instantly is a no for people sometimes.
Yeah.
But because they go fully CG, they can do things that you could do with a 2D animation, but it would take so much longer and it'd be so much more difficult.
And so much more expensive.
Yeah, with 3D, you're basically, it's all there. Like, you just have a model, you just kind of set the difference.
I think something that really like summed it up was most places will use CGI for things that are too difficult to do in 2D, whereas Land of the Lustrous tried to do the opposite. They did things in 2D that were too difficult to do in 3D, like the face animation and some close-ups of things that they ended up doing more as a traditional 2D animation. And that's what makes this one of the best 3D animated show, I think.
I'd say that's fair. I'd say that's not a hot take.
Yeah, no, I mean, to be fair, though, it's not like there's no real tough competition there.
I mean, sure, like
Beastars
is good, but I
mean, that's also Orange, right? So like, yeah.
I think that this show also just lends itself to be well received as a 3D anime as well, just because of the way the gems work and that stuff. So they can kind of come off as a little bit less realistic than like a human.
Yeah, and I think that's the point, right?
And again, with Beastars too, they can do that because they're not people; they're
animals.
They're animals.
Yep.
I'm curious though when Trigun comes out, how that'll be, because they're animating people at that point, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess did we mention that was fully 3D, the Trigun thing?
Well, it's Studio Orange. That's what they do. Yeah.
I think we should also kind of just quickly talk on all the like visual themes in this show. Like, there's a lot of moments I noticed. Well, because like, if not to spoil too much, but the gems are kind of the moon. It provides quite a threat to them, and there's a lot of scenes where they're showing the gems sitting there, and then the moon will be like lurking overhead, or like there's a lot of points where like they kind of show all that, and then I love the way that they frame shots in this show too. Like, they'll actually have a little like a character in the corner of the screen or something like that, and then there's this beautiful landscape in front of you.
Yes, it's just well
shot.
Shots.
Yeah. And I love the way the Lunarians look too. They look
the Lunarians are so cool and creepy
and creepy.
Otherworldly. Yeah. That's not to just completely like talk about how good the gems look. Yeah, the Lunarians are very.
The character design in general
threats.
is just really cool.
Yeah. And like, that's all source material, right? They look the same, but they just did such a good job adapting it. It's perfect.
Yeah.
There was something I wanted to mention. Oh, well, I forgot.
Yeah, it'll come back to you. We got lots of time. The interesting thing, I read this online, is that some of the gems interact differently in different lights, which I thought was kind of a cool thing too. So like in the final episode, you notice that Foss's hair is not green, but more of a blue because it's nighttime. And just like the way it just interacts with stuff, and like the Lunarian's light changes the way one of their hair interacts because the light that they give off is different. There's just so much like thought that went into this that's just so interesting, and this again wouldn't be possible with 2D animation.
Yeah, no, exactly, because that's one of those things where they just plunked in the information into the computer, and then the computer's able to dictate how the light passes through these gems and what it would look like after. Yeah, whereas if it was hand animated, they might just make like Foss at night would just look like Foss at night, so Foss but darker. But if it's on the computer, you can say, well, it's not just darker, the light is different at night. So
and then they can also like simulate,
their hair would look a little more blue than green.
They can also like use programs to like simulate light reflecting and refracting and all that, and you can't do that as easily in hand animation.
Insert a GIF of Diamond's hair in this show.
Oh my god, it sparkles,
like the rainbows and stuff. It's cool because like Cole said earlier, they actually used like how the light would interact in this actual mineral.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I learned so much about minerals in this one. like cinnabar. I didn't know that's mercury comes out of that.
Oh, that
actually happens.
One of my favorite.
Made me look it up. I learned things.
I had to look it up too.
Like, what's the silver stuff? Oh, it's mercury.
One of my favorite things in this was when the in-between screens in the middle where there's like a commercial break normally. And it's just like a picture of the element and like just talking about like, it'll say like cinnabar, HGS is the chemical formula. And then I'll say like the crystalline structure, and I'll have a picture of the rock. And it's like, that's cool. It's the only time I've ever been like that hyped for a rock.
the Moss scale rating on it.
Yeah.
That's the only time I've ever been so...
Is a major piece of this story. The Moss scale. That's so like...
That's the only time I've ever been so hyped for a rock, Mike 2022. Frame it.
Yeah.
I think we should...
Except for that last time I was hyped for the rock.
Yeah. Oh, I get hyped for the rock all the time. I was lying.
Yeah.
You hyped your right...
Spoiler-free thoughts here?
Oh, I was just going to say, you hyped your wife about a rock at some point.
That's true. That is true.
Right. Yes. Mike is married.
Yeah, he is married. Unlike us filthy degenerates.
Yes. Spoiler-free thoughts. It's good.
It's good.
It's good.
It's good. It's a good show.
Very good.
Yeah.
Good show. Go watch it. I'm giving it a big ol' yay.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah. I think most people. Yeah, I think most people would like this show. I'd give it a yay.
Do you like action? Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Watch it. Do you like drama?
Yes. Watch it.
Do you like beautiful art? Yes.
Watch it.
Do you like character development? Yes. Watch it.
Yeah.
Do you like good voice acting? Yes. Watch it.
Yeah.
No, it's literally, so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I honestly can't see anyone giving this show anything lower than like a 7.
Nah, there's always the naysayers, but they deserve none of my attention.
Looking at the score distribution on this one, it's got an 83% average score, so that's pretty good. I would say that pretty much anybody would enjoy this show. It's kind of got something for everybody.
Yeah, and just a cool premise too.
Yeah, absolutely. The world building is really what sets it apart.
Oh yeah, I think that the world building is probably the best thing that it has going for it.
Character development.
Yeah,
I'm on the side of character development. Foss's growth is second to none.
Yeah,
but we'll talk about that in the spoilies.
Spoilies here.
Spoilies right now.
You heard it here first. We're going to get into spoiler territory, so if you don't want to hear spoilers, go watch the show. We just gave our yays. And then come back. Either if you're watching the dub or the sub, you can go watch it on Amazon or High Dive. Come back, listen to our spoiler-filled discussion, and let's see if you agree. So guys, spoilies.
Spoilies. Let's talk about the plot.
A plot?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think
yes.
Cole, you're going to take us through the plot since you're so good at it.
we'll just kind of run through things one episode at a time, I think. So the first episode is basically just your standard introduction into...
It's all exposition, really.
Yeah, into our characters and how they all work. So it's exposition, but exposition in a very... It's done well.
Yeah.
Because we get introduced to Foss, of course, in the best way, because Foss is just laying there sleeping like a useless gem. And then she's got to go see Sensei, Kongo Sensei, and we find out that she can't fight because she has a very low hardness scale. She's only a 3, so she's very brittle. And he found her a job, and that is to assemble an encyclopedia for, I guess, them, because they can't die.
Them and the goings on this this area, this place.
It's honestly kind of surprising that they didn't have that already.
Yeah,
they seem to know a lot about the world.
They've also been living for like thousands of years. Like
yeah.
Like Yellow Diamond is how old? Like almost
ancient.
3,000 years old.
Yeah.
And the kind of a cool thing that they reveal early on in this too is that like the planet has been bombarded multiple times and like it's unlivable by pretty much everything. Like everything that was alive retreated back into the oceans. And like this little island that they're on is the only piece of land available. And you can't grow anything in it. There's nothing to eat there. The only thing that can live there is these gem people.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Should mention as well, Foss is the youngest of the gems at a young 299 years old, I think.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So
I forget which episode it was, but I remember her saying like, "Oh yeah, I turned 300 today."
It's my 300th birthday.
Yeah.
I know exactly when it was. It was the best birthday party ever when she was getting...
I remember what the
betrayed.
episode was. I just don't remember what the episode number was.
Oh, well, we'll find out soon.
Yeah.
Yes. In episode 1, we also meet Cinnabar, who is Cinnabar. She can't, or they can't... work with everyone else because they produce mercury, which poisons them, and if any of the mercury gets on any of the other gems, they have to get pieces of them chipped away. And all of the memories that the gems have are all held within themselves, so they don't have a brain necessarily. They're just a solid piece of gem. So if
their whole being is their brain, essentially.
So if they lose pieces of themselves, then they will forget things. So Cinnabar's job is to have a night watch, which she wanders around at night to wait for the bad guys to show up, who are the Lunarians, who show up during the day to steal the gems to make jewelry out of them. So Cinnabar's job is shown to be useless because the Lunarians never show up at night.
Yeah, which is kind of weird to me a little bit. And I don't know, did you mention that the gems, basically how they operate is by photosynthesizing? So they get their energy from the sun.
Yeah. And that's why the Lunarians attack during the day, because that's the easiest time that they can get them, because they're out during the day.
Did they ever...
Also, how cool is the animation for the sunspots?
Yes.
Yeah.
And also Cinnabar's mercury looks really cool too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And also the gold later on.
They look very similar, the gold and the mercury.
Yeah.
Intentional, perhaps?
Perhaps. Yes.
Episode 2 is entitled Diamond. This is where Jay gets his favorite gem, Diamond.
Best girl, Diamond.
Gem. Best gem.
Right, sorry, best gem.
We see Diamond, who is a diamond. She has a very high...
They have a very high
hardness rating. Basically, this one is pretty well just kind of setting up this and like Diamond's relationship with her partner, Bort, who is also a diamond class rock. Who Bort's great too.
It's interesting because there's several diamonds in this show, and they're all so different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bort is basically just a badass.
Yeah.
Diamond is kind of just a girly gem.
Like, they kind of,
and I mean that kind of makes sense because of how diamonds are perceived by people.
Yeah,
and maybe that's intentional. Maybe their personalities are reflective on how we perceive the gems to be in the real world.
Yeah, they give a little quick explanation too, like why Diamond and Bort are different, and that Bort actually is has a what is it, better shear resistance in her crystal
Yeah,
structure.
she's technically stronger than Diamond is, because Diamond can be broken if something hits them the right way.
Yeah.
Whereas Bort is basically
Indestructible,
like,
more or less.
indestructible.
Yeah.
Which I thought, another interesting point that I thought in the show too was because Bort is kind of like one of the toughest ones. She also they also have the longest hair, which kind of just shows that they've probably not shattered many times. Because I don't know if you noticed this, but every time the Foss shatters, her hair gets shorter. Like every time she loses part of herself, it basically moves the hair into their body. It's kind of interesting.
Until like the end where they have much shorter hair.
Yeah.
Next episode is the one where Foss gets eaten by a giant snail.
Snail, best character in the show.
The snail. Actually, the snail is pretty good.
The snail is pretty good. Yeah.
I like this episode, but when it
Yeah.
happened, I was like, "Wait, what just happened?"
Yeah. So Foss gets eaten by the snail and basically gets broken down inside, which is interesting because it's the first.
Yeah.
It's the first time that we really like nothing bad has happened to this point.
Yeah,
The gems get broken and stuff like that, but they can just be put back together.
Like they're essentially immortal for the most part. They're immortal.
Yeah, unless they get taken by the
Lunarians. Yeah.
They're immortal. They're indestructible and they can be put back together. But this is the first moment where like we perceive like an actual threat because Foss doesn't get broken. Foss melts down inside of this snail. And
I think like we even see like Bort's hair start melting. Like,
we see like everything melting.
And we just finished saying like they are the most durable gem out of all of them.
Yeah.
So
and
like
the swords that they used were melting in the snail. And then was it the end of this episode where they throw the snail into the like pond out front, which is filled with salt water.
Yeah.
And the snail shrinks down to just a football-sized snail.
Yeah, and then they kick
slug.
Diamond kicks it up into the air and it lands on Sensei's head.
Yeah, but that's later. That's later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because at this point, Daya
thinks that the snail is Foss.
This is Foss.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Because the snail isn't helping. The snail is basically saying, like, yeah, I'm Foss. She's like, are you Foss? And then it shakes its head, yes.
Yeah. And I think you should mention, too... Oh, I lost my thought. What was I saying?
Oops.
Oh, yeah. The snail is kind of... like it has personality to it. Like, it's clearly aware of what's going on.
And you find out later
it's
why.
Not like but this is also an interesting point because Daya kind of says like, oh, maybe you're happier like this because you can just like eat and sleep and you don't need to like worry about finding meaning in life anymore. And then we find out later that no, that's not Foss. That's just a different thing. That's a snail.
Yeah.
So Foss gets rescued at
wasn't she like converted into the shell and they like take her out of the shell?
It was Cinnabar who suggested that sometimes the snails will eat rocks and then those rocks
get
become
incorporated.
Their shell.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So then that's how they figured, okay, well, let's just chip away all of the green pieces of the shell, and that's Foss, and that's how they rebuild her. Very cool sequence as well.
Yeah.
Where she's getting rebuilt. Yeah.
I'd say like the one thing that I didn't like about that is like how did Cinnabar know that?
Cinnabar knows lots of stuff.
There's animals. Yeah. Also, it's established earlier that Cinnabar is like one of the wiser.
She is, but like it just like I don't know. It just seemed a little like she knows that, but like
they explicitly explained it because there was a red snail, and they're like, see that snail's red because it eats the red rocks over here. You can see the same snails down on the shore that eat white rocks, and they have white shells.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it is explained.
And they explain that she knows more about everything because they walk the shores all night, every night. So they kind of see a lot more.
Yeah. And
but
Foss, so they rebuild Foss, and then Foss wakes up and then starts yelling at the snail. And everybody's like, what's going on? And they're like, you can't understand the snail? And Foss can now understand the snail, I guess, because they were a part of it at one point. I don't know.
That was one of those things where it was just like, okay, that happened.
It's just kind of like you suspend your disbelief. Sure, like yeah.
And then in the
was
next
that ever
episode
really
is
explained? I don't think so. No.
No.
Yeah.
I suspect it might be in the manga later on, and then I have a theory, but
we can't really talk about the manga because that's not here.
Right.
So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then the next episode is that scene that Michael talked about where the snail gets kicked up in the air and then lands on Sensei's head.
And there's that hilarious shot where it's Foss is just like, I'm totally going to get blamed for that. And then it like zooms in on her face. I'm definitely getting blamed for that. And it's just I don't know. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
I thought that, that was very funny.
Yeah. So, yeah, good show. And then the snail, whose name is Ventricusus? Ventricusus? Something like that. They convince Foss to take them back to their home, which is in the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And the sea is forbidden for the gem folk to go into. But Foss, being the rebel that they are, just takes her, takes the snail in. I can say the snail's a girl, right?
I don't actually know, honestly. This is
Well,
one of those shows
they did
where
like
nobody.
say...
I don't think anybody actually has a sex in this show.
Well, no. Actually, I think that is a girl because that's the brother's sister, right? They say sister.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So they go into the ocean, and then as they get closer to the snail's home, the snail transforms into a gigantic waifu.
That's really the only way to put it.
Foss even asked like, "What's that on your chest?" And they're like, and she's like, "This is the most important part of my body."
Yeah. One thing we didn't mention too is that when the snail lands on Sensei's head, the Sensei instantly knows what it is. I think he even calls her ruler of the sea or something like that, which was at the time you're kind of like, what does that even mean? You kind of can pass it off as like maybe just like a joke or something. But then
he sees snails as rulers of the sea or something like that.
Yeah. And then they reveal the true form of her, and she's a waifu or whatever. And she's the queen of the Admirabilis people.
Sounds like Sensei knows more than he's leading on.
Yes.
This part also explains the idea that the humans existed at one point and then were split into 3 different species: the soul, the flesh, and the bone. The flesh being the sea people, who are very like fleshy.
Yeah.
With their fleshy bits.
Yeah, very fleshy.
The bone being the gems.
The gems.
They're hard and not fleshy. And then the soul being the
Lunarians.
Yeah. Who are very
soul-like, spiritual.
Soulish. Yeah. And then what happens to Foss in the sea? Well, Ventricusus betrays Foss, kind of sells her out to the Lunarians so that
she could get her brother back.
She can get her brother back. I like that scene where the brother comes out of his gigantic shell.
Yeah.
And then there's that like pause, and then she's like, or Foss is like, oh, it's so cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, and then like it shows like the eyes, and when that happened, I was like, yeah, it is kind of cute.
Yeah, it looks like a slug puppy or something. And then it freaks out, and then it falls into the salt water, and then becomes the boy version of Ventricusus.
Yeah, honestly, this was probably like my favorite part of the show, just because like it really did a good job at just the world building. It told its story on like the Lunarians. What was it, like a ship? I don't know what to call that.
Yeah,
but, like,
their floaty thingy.
Their floaty thingy. And like it really like took kind of the dynamic of everything in a new direction that wasn't just they're on the island and they're getting invaded by the Lunarians, and so
it was kind of the first time that you see the rest of the world and like people interacting with the Lunarians. Yeah. And not just killing them instantly. It's kind of like it kind of gives you a little peek behind the curtain that there's something more going on here.
Yeah.
Than you expected.
This is also the part where Foss basically just gives up and chooses to allow themselves to just get taken by the Lunarians.
And then like there was that really good part where I forget the snail's name, but like the Lunarians basically like said like get us more, and they were like, well, maybe we could get Cinnabar, and she looks at Foss, and Foss is like, no, and she's like,
don't,
and she's like, maybe not. Maybe I can't do that.
Yeah. They don't trust me. They won't trust me again.
Yeah.
And then the sea folk decide to rescue Foss. They've kind of get a soft spot for the gem. But at this point, Foss has lost her legs. Like they don't have legs anymore.
Yeah.
So as they're all falling back into the sea, they break off 2 spines of the brother's shell.
Yeah.
And we later use those as new legs for Foss when they get back to
And when
the school.
and like this isn't without consequence either. When she comes back or when they come back, they're greeting all the other gems and they look at Jade and they're like, who are you again?
Yeah. She forgot.
And she forgot
who Jade
was.
Among other things, I'm sure, but that was the main thing.
That was the big tell of that they lost their memories.
Yeah.
So she gets these new stripy legs now, and they don't work. They're basically just sticks on her hips. And they sit out in the sun for a bit, and because they say, well, if you sit out in the sun, you'll absorb sunlight, and that'll help the legs take. And then the legs take, and oh boy, do they take! They are very, very, they are very quick.
So
when
fast.
did we start watching The Flash?
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
When did we start watching Gem Flash with the shiny hair? And then at this point, her legs have a higher hardness than her body does. I think the legs are like a 7 or something like that. It's agate, I think, is what they were made out of.
I think
that sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, they explain the snails sometimes harden into this mineral that's harder than Foss's.
Yeah, and it is a 7. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a 7.
So then now Foss is super fast, and she convinces Sensei to allow her to go into combat.
Yeah.
And she gets teamed up with the only team that could possibly accept somebody else because they are basically already one entity.
Well, before that happens, he asks them to get him their lightest sword, and he gives it to Foss, and we see like Foss still can't hold the sword because they're still super weak. It's just that they have really strong and fast legs now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But Foss fights and holds it up and
Yeah. Basically, he humors.
They're determined.
Foss.
I did notice a small problem though. So they're struggling to hold the sword, and in the very next scene, they're holding it like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like they get strong enough to hold it. It's only for a second that they can't hold it.
Yeah.
And that could just be because they were surprised at how heavy it is.
It didn't really explain this, but it did seem like the gems could I don't want to say work out or improve. They could somehow improve their bodies a little bit because later on in the show, Foss is going around and they're getting tired, and then as they go on, they get less tired and they kind of their endurance goes up. I don't know exactly what the mechanism is behind that,
exactly.
but it does seem.
I think that's just willpower.
It's gem anatomy, right?
Who knows?
I think it's just supposed to be willpower. Like they just have gotten to the point where they don't require the external things in life so they can work. I don't know if they can't function without sunlight or if that's just they get tired without it.
Yeah, they just basically say because they photosynthesize, they run out of energy at night. They're low on energy because the moon only gives them so much.
Do they say that they photosynthesize?
Yeah, because their bodies are, when they came out of the sea, or when they sunk to the bottom of the sea, the gems mixed with a bacteria that is in the crystals, and they're basically the bacteria actually is them, kind of. That's what gives them their ability to move and stuff.
Well, anyway, Foss gets teamed up with the Amethyst twins, Amethyst 86 and Amethyst 33, and then they always clunk their heads together because they can't break each other for some reason.
Yeah, I was
kind of Amethyst.
I was confused by that. Apparently, the gems can't touch each other is a part of the thing.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, they sure do like touching each other and clinking their heads together.
Yeah, they clink their heads together. It's good.
Yeah, and then on basically the episode is Foss hanging out with the Amethysts and nothing ever happens until something does happen, and oh boy, when something happens,
it happens.
Doesn't end well. The Lunarians show up and the Amethysts seemingly deal with them pretty quickly, but then these are not the normal Lunarians, they're different. So when they get sliced, tendrils come out of them and grab the Amethysts and just start smashing them like crocodile teeth.
Like Venus flytraps.
Yeah, until they're little itty bitty pieces, and then Bort
comes in and saves the day.
Big boy Bort comes and saves the day and blames Foss. I never really got why everybody was blaming Foss for that. Like, what was Foss supposed to do?
I think it was more that she just didn't do anything rather than that. I
don't know. At that point, I'm like, Bort, relax, man.
Yeah.
For me, I was watching and I was like, Foss, like, at least try something. Don't sit there and watch.
They were scared. I understood that. I would have thought.
That, yeah.
I would have thought, okay, at least like run and get somebody.
Yeah,
you
like
got some fast legs.
Something.
But
I can understand why they didn't, because they were scared.
Basically, like, if you've ever been so scared that you don't know, like, you just don't know how to react, you kind of just shut down. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
they pick up all the pieces of the Amethyst twins and they're fine.
They're fine. Yeah, they're gems.
They're fine, and they don't even blame Foss. They're like, "Oh, it was our fault. We shouldn't have like gotten so cocky and all that." And then, but Foss is basically having PTSD. They can't sleep, and just in time for their annual hibernation time, because it's winter and there's not much sun in the winter, so they all get seepy. So they put up some sheets and they all get into a big comfy room. I want to sleep in that room. That looks comfy.
I know,
it looks like a very comfy room.
Yeah.
And they all have like pillows and teddy bears and stuff. Oh, yeah. So comfy.
Yeah.
But Foss says to Sensei, they're like, I'm not tired. I don't want to sleep. And everybody's like, what? You're the first person to fall asleep every year and the last person to wake up. But Foss can't sleep right now because they're going through some stuff. And then we get introduced to probably the most impactful character on Foss's life so far.
Yeah. And
Antarctite.
I will point out at this point that this is my best gem of the show.
Is it Antarctite or Antarcticite?
They call her Antarcticite in the
I think that's how it is. Yeah. Antarcticite. Yeah. Antarcticite's good. Yeah. I like them.
Yeah,
That's a good
me
gem.
too.
Good
That's
gem.
a good pick. That's a good pick.
Good gem. Good gem.
I wonder
Their
how that
story
will go.
ends well. Yeah.
Yes.
But I also like this whole segment of the show because Foss finally starts to almost get somewhere in their growth. They're starting to do what Antarcticite does, and like they can run up the
snowy
ice
hill.
flows.
The ice flows.
Oh, yeah,
with
yeah.
the high heels to break them, but then they go to smash it and they can't do it.
Yeah.
I also like the next part where Foss has Antarcticite's big saw sword, and she's like sawing that little piece, and then Antarcticite's in the background with Foss's little dinky sword, and is doing everything perfectly fine.
Yeah.
So like my headcanon is like Foss is saying, I can't do it because of my little sword, and then Antarcticite's like, well, I'll use it.
Too bad.
Watch, I can still do it with this little sword.
An interesting thing that they bring up too is that Antarcticite actually is the only gem who is a lower on the Mohs hardness scale.
Yeah, I think they said 0.5.
I think it was
Cinnabar is lower than Foss.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, Cinnabar's the lowest, but
Antarcticite is the lowest. She's a 2, or they're a 2.
Yeah.
And then 2.5 is Cinnabar and 3 is Foss.
There you go. But Antarcticite has the advantage of in winter they get stronger because their crystal structure changes in cold temperatures.
Mm-hmm. They basically, from my understanding, is they're basically like rock ice. Is kind of my understanding of it.
Yeah, and
if it's above freezing, they're in like a liquid state.
Yeah, because they show that scene where they basically like reverse Terminator 2 like out of that pool.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, just there's like a pool of like liquid metal, and then all of a sudden Antarcticite
they just rise
out
of it. Yeah, and then goes to Sensei to have their yearly tradition.
Oh, that was so
where
cute.
they just hug.
Yeah,
that was very cute.
And
yeah,
then
Sensei's just like, yes, you must be very lonely being the only gem awake in winter. And she's like, well, I'm not lonely, but I do like our yearly tradition.
Can I have a hug?
Yeah, can I have a hug?
Can I has hug, please?
Yeah.
And the ice flows are interesting because, of course, they scream, as they do in IRL. When they rub up against each other, they scream. But Foss can hear them.
And understand them.
I thought that was such a nice touch because technically, like, ice actually is a mineral if you follow like the scientific definition. And it's kind of cool that it would be like a primordial mineral that doesn't really actually have a thought, and it just mirrors their own thoughts. Because that's kind of like what water does. It reflects it back at you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought
and that's
really
what Sensei says is they don't
have any coherent thought, but like they're able to.
Yeah, they can basically like amplify your what's the word?
Your inner monologue almost.
Yeah. Your inner insecurities.
Yeah.
So Foss is going through some stuff still at this point, and they're out on the ice, and the ice flows start telling her to just chop her arms off.
Yes.
Just chop your arms off. It'll be fine.
Well,
You're fine after your
wasn't
legs.
it
Like
like,
somebody will figure something out.
Wasn't it like Antarcticite was like, if only like your legs got so good, if only you could do the same to your arms or something like that?
Yeah.
Somebody probably said something to that.
Yeah.
Like that. But I don't think Foss was really like considering it until the ice flows started saying it. And then like they almost chopped their arms off, which if you think about it is pretty like
Twice.
gruesome.
Twice.
Yeah.
They first take the saw sword and then hold it up their arm, and they're about to cut off their arm.
What are
They're like,
what am I doing? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the ice starts talking, basically, hey, stick your arm in the water. We'll bite it off for you. Don't worry. We'll do it for
it'll
you.
be really quick.
Yeah.
And then I like how her inner monologue is basically telling her like, just get rid of your arms. Like it'll all be fine. Somebody else will figure something out for you.
Yeah. Take
It
the
was
easy
fine when
way.
your leg. Yeah, it was fine when your legs. This is how you become better. Very like a very heavy part of the show.
Yeah.
But she chooses not to.
That's
Great. Everything's fine until they slip and fall into the ice and
Their arms
get
are gone.
rescued by Antarcticite. And her arms are gone.
And Antarcticite loses part of her or their arm as well.
Don't they?
But they keep them.
Yeah, they keep it.
They
Get
keep
it
it
back. but
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just Foss who lost it. And I like that scene where they come back and it's just that shot of Sensei and like his eyes are like
Oh my
huge.
goodness.
Like,
Yeah.
oh my
And-
God, what just happened?
And he drops his pencil too.
Mm-hmm.
He's writing, and that's like one of the few times that you actually see him in shock, like visibly show actual emotion, kind of. You know what I mean?
Well, there was
Visibly
the other
shooketh.
time when she came back from the sea, or like from underneath the sea, and like she couldn't remember anything. And since I asked her, "Do you remember anything?" and she was like, or they were like something about a human, and he's like, "Oh, what?"
Yeah, that was the other shooketh.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was
But I think-
shooketh.
I think that's. Oh yeah, that was when they were under the sea. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's
Under the
when
sea.
they were explained about how humans split into three: the bone, the spirit, and the flesh.
Yeah.
So Sensei tells them they got to go out to the Cord Shore, which is where they were all born,
Mm-hmm.
to find something to replace Foss's arms with.
Mm-hmm.
So they go out there and they can't find anything except for this gold alloy,
Mm-hmm.
gold platinum alloy, they say.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's sturdy and stuff, but it's super heavy. And they're like, well, let's try it out anyway. So they stick it onto their arm, and it's at first doesn't start well. They can't move. It kind of like starts taking over, like it becomes like a big liquid thing. And of course, at this point, the Lunarians show up.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
Of course.
Antarcticite can take care of them, and they do. They take care of them. But now Foss is like stuck in this big gold cube, and Antarcticite's trying to get them out and everything. And then, oh no, an arrow out of the sky comes and smashes Antarcticite. And I really like this scene too, because like her final like action is like to tell her to be quiet. You'll be safe if you just shut up.
Because the Lunarians actually come up to the cube, and then if they can't,
One of them,
they can't tell that Foss.
yeah,
is
one
in
of them
there.
comes up to it, and then another one is basically like, "Come on, we gotta go."
Yeah.
And then so they're safe. But then Foss again, like just like with her legs, they don't work until like she wills them to work.
Yeah.
So they don't want Antarcticite to be taken, so they will their arms to function. So now she's got these like cool liquid arms made of gold, and they're trying to get back to get Antarcticite, and they get it. And at this point you're thinking like, okay, no, they'll be fine. They'll get them. Nothing bad ever happens in the show. Everybody gets pieced back together, except for this time.
Yeah.
Antarcticite gets taken.
This is like the
really,
first,
if you think about it, this is the first gem that actually gets taken in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the first time
Every
you really
other gem
see.
just gets every other gem just gets put back together.
Yeah.
And now Foss has this gold alloy.
Gold platinum alloy.
That's it.
Yeah,
for
gold
their
alloy.
arms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For their arms and through their whole body to
Yeah.
reinforce the weight.
I thought it was
So-
super cool how they did that. How like Foss is still fragile, but this alloy is spread evenly throughout their entire body. So even in that scene, they're running after Antarcticite, but their body's cracking because it can't hold up to the strain of like the physical exertion that's going on. But you can just see like little splashes of gold like seep in and fill the cracks. It was like super cool to see, and then also like it's just like a good visual, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it just makes sense. That's how they can. And then the next time we see Foss, they have changed a lot. They've kind of like based their new look almost off of Antarcticite as well. Like with the short hair and to fill in like the cracks in their body that were missing. So it makes sense that they did it, but it's also, I think, they did that on purpose to kind of like it's a dysmorphia type of thing that they're going through. Yeah. So they want to more look like Antarcticite as well to get over the guilt.
The show is so simultaneously like pretty and beautiful to look at, but also so dark at other, like when you really kind of think more about it.
It's very heavy. Yeah. It goes, it's a lot of stuff. PTSD, dysmorphia, like I said, just not really knowing who you are and like how you change.
Yeah.
Because Foss is the only one who changes through everything. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Foss is a changing character in an unchanging world. Nothing else around them changes. No other characters go through anything quite like Foss does.
I'd argue Diamond does a little bit, but yeah, you're right.
A little bit, but yeah, like of course Foss is the main character, so we see them all the time, so we know exactly what they're going through at any given time. But next episode, all of the gems wake up and see new and improved Foss, and they're all taken aback by how different they are now.
They're actually like scared a little bit because
a little bit at the start, and then
like that.
And like you kind of see a reaction from Foss, just like how they're looking at all the other gems, and some are like cowering behind Bort and that, and like they're all like they don't know how to take it in yet.
Yeah,
for like a minute, and then like the next second they're all over Foss. Yeah, to like experiment
stretching their arms and all that.
But yeah, at this point, Foss kind of starts to wonder if Sensei maybe knows more than they're letting on. Because, I forgot the doggo.
The doggo's next, right?
Yeah, the doggo's next, because this is what leads to Foss questioning Sensei. Big old Lunarian comes out of the sky, and it's this gigantic, like, 6-armed beast thing that gets into the school, and it's this leads to like one of the most tense scenes in the whole show.
Well, what happens is like Bort doesn't really trust that Foss is able to hold their own yet, so they go like together kind of patrolling, and that's when the doggo comes out. So they're kind of working together to try and stop this doggo, and they've never really done that before.
Jay, we don't know it's a doggo yet.
Yeah. I think the reason that Foss was working with Bort, wasn't it because basically they said, oh, you're like actually capable of defense now. You should learn how to use your weapons better you should learn from Bort because Bort is like the most naturally like martially gifted of all of them, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think Foss feels bad because Foss doesn't want to steal Bort from Daya.
Yeah.
Stupid Daya. But stupid hair.
No, Daya best gem.
Daya has some good scenes coming up in a bit here.
Yeah. No, Daya, like I said, the most tense scene is based around Daya kind of crawling around to hide from the big beast.
Yeah.
The 6-armed beast. And then Bort and Foss show up and they're able... No, Daya cuts it in half first, right?
Daya's the one that cuts it in half first, and then they show
with
up.
like the shards of
their leg.
Bits of the leg and arm.
Yeah.
And then Bort and Foss and Alex, the gem who like turns into a different gem when they see
Alexander, right?
Yeah, they cut it up. They cut the beast into like a bunch of little pieces, and the little pieces all have sentience now, and they're all like little puppers.
Yeah, they all look like little like basically stuffed doggos.
Yeah, they look like something out of a Disney movie.
Yeah,
and all of the gems are all like, I like that part where Yellow Diamond picks one up and they're like, what is this? It's so fluffy and cute. And then Bort's like, have you seen any of these fluffy things running around? And then they just hold up one of them.
Yeah,
that thing.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
wasn't there was one more left over, right? That was kind of
Well, yeah,
away,
because
right?
they throw them all into like a giant cage thing.
Yeah.
And then they're all like, so what was it like before? Not realizing that they can put themselves all back together. So once they reassemble them all into this one place, they all put themselves back together into this gigantic beast.
Yeah.
And it's missing one of its arms, one of its hands. Oops,
Mm-hmm.
I hit my mic. I'm sorry. And Sensei comes and is like, whoa, what is that thing? Or you think that that's what he's thinking. And then the doggo sees him, or spoilers, it's a doggo. It runs up to him and shakes his hand and stuff.
And doesn't he say Shiro too?
Shiro, yeah,
Yeah.
that's its name.
Mhm.
And Foss is like, did you just say Shiro?
What is that? Yeah.
And then Sensei's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just gonna chill in this dog's tail. It's so fluffy.
Yeah, even he's like, I'm just gonna hang out in the fluffer.
And yeah, then like you said, Cinnabar finds the last doggo,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the hand that was missing. So Foss brings it back, and the hand gets reassembled. And then the dog finds peace with Sensei, and then wisps away like a
Yeah.
ghost.
Yeah.
Like a spirit.
Yeah, it really hints towards like the bigger picture stuff that's going on here that
Mhm.
unfortunately we'd never find out about, I don't think.
Well, you could read the manga.
Yeah. If you want to know more, read the manga, I think.
If you want to know more, read the manga.
Yeah.
So now Phosphophilite is kind of a bit more suspicious of Sensei and what they know.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think that pretty well sums up the show, because I mean, we don't ever learn anything.
Yeah.
Foss at this point is their mission is to like talk to the Lunarians, and she almost manages to get something out of them. What do they say in the dub? Because in the sub, it's what do they get out? Pho or something? Jay?
I can't. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
In the dub,
I'm just wondering.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering what syllable it was in the dub.
In the dub, basically, so I guess basically what happens is another set of Lunarians come, and Foss goes and grabs one of them. One of the like after Foss wipes out the rest of them, one of them's left behind, and Foss like kind of takes the opportunity to grab one of them around the throat, right? And then while Foss is holding him around the throat, I think all that they say is just because they basically Foss yells at them, do you understand what I'm saying to you? And then all of a sudden like some light comes into their eyes.
Well, their eye like rolls forward, like as
Yeah.
if it was like rolled back.
Suddenly aware kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure what they just say is like, and then, but Foss, no
I
one's ever
thought-
heard them
yeah.
talk to this point though, right? So
Yeah, I thought it was something specific because Foss like says, "Did you just say?" I thought it was like "pho" or something like that. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
I don't remember. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty well it. The show kind of ends on that mystery and Foss kind of setting themselves up to try to figure out what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then we wait for season 2, but no, they're gonna make Trigun instead.
And then we wait for go read the manga, ladies and gentlemen.
Go read the manga. So
Yeah.
that was the plot. What
Mhm.
about? I guess we kind of talked about characters as well.
Yeah.
Quick rundown of best gem, even though we all said it.
Mm-hmm.
Jay is Daya.
Daya.
Mike is
Antarcticite.
Cole is
Foss. Yeah.
Foss
is great.
Yeah.
Foss
Foss
is
is a good
great.
choice. Foss is
a good choice. I think
They're all good choices.
Yeah, they're all good choices. I don't think
Yeah.
there's a
One-
wrong choice here.
one of the best things in the show is the last sequence of shots in the show is basically a direct copy of the first set,
Mhm.
but like just in how Foss has changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very cool storytelling. Bort's also really good. I like Bort.
I also like Pod Parasha. I know we didn't talk about that part of the episode at all.
Yeah,
It's a
I'm
gem.
trying to wrap it up quick.
Yeah,
but yeah,
yeah.
there's another gem who can only like
It's like
be
imperfect,
woken up for
basically.
yeah.
Yeah.
Voiced by Romy Park, classic.
Yep.
Yep.
Well-
Yeah. Ending thoughts, boys. It's good.
It's
I
good.
feel like we've said everything at this point.
So I guess if I were to give my final thoughts, I thought it was a good show. I probably didn't like it as much as you guys did, just because like there were some points where I felt like there was a bit of a disconnection. I don't know, just like sometimes when the Lunarians attacked, it felt like they attacked and then like they just went back to where all the drama was. Like the action itself was kind of separate.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because I think that's intentional because The Lunarians aren't necessarily that much of a threat. They seem like more of a nuisance.
Yeah,
honestly.
and well, the
For a while.
thing that, yeah, and I
Yeah.
mean, whether it's intentional or not, to me, it just felt like it just felt like it didn't really mesh that well with the rest of the dramatic tension going on between the characters. If anything, it just interrupted it. And like, if I'm supposed to feel that that's a nuisance, just like they do, like it just broke up the dramatic tension of it, and that kind of bugged me. But when it started to ramp things up a little more and actually involve them in more of the drama, then like it got a little better. But I don't know, it just did feel a little disjointed for me. That's not to say that it's not a good show, but that's just how I felt.
Yeah, my final thoughts are kind of almost the same. Like it's a beautiful show. The sound design is amazing. The voice acting's really good. It's unique enough that like you're gonna enjoy it just purely out of like, whoa, this is something I've never seen before and probably not gonna see again. But like the story is probably the weakest part of it, I would say.
I agree.
Like at points it just feels like the tone shifts a little too rapidly at points, and then sometimes the story, it seems like something will happen and you're kind of like, yeah, I get why that happened, but did that
need to happen?
Yeah. And then like the arcs in this one are like a little too segmented for me a bit, but I guess now that I think about it, it kind of makes sense because like I think the show probably takes place over like several years, but it kind of feels like a couple days.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it just
at the end of the day,
there is that one part
watch
where Foss is standing there, and then they're like, "How long have I been standing here?" And they're like, 10 days. You've just been standing there for 10 days.
Yeah.
So I do think that this takes place over a longer period of time.
Yeah.
Because these beings are all centuries, millennia year old.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at Foss's like wiki article here, and it says in chapter 10, Foss is 300. In chapter 47, Foss is 403. And in chapter 79, Foss is 623. So yeah, a lot happens.
Yeah. And then just a very like light spoiler for the last chapter before it went to hiatus. Apparently the break between the last chapter and this next one is 10,000 years.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Anyway, I think you're both wrong and the show is perfect. No, I think that this show is just a textbook character development, but like external character development in how the world around them, despite no. Sorry, I'm
internal.
rethinking this.
Yeah.
It's not the external things that change. It's
internal.
It's internal things that change, but as a result of things that are happening around them. I don't think Foss changes. I think Foss has change forced upon them.
Yeah.
Through their legs being replaced and their arms being replaced. Because they don't just lose their legs and arm, they lose pieces of themselves. They lose pieces of them as an entity.
Yeah, it's a super interesting way to handle character development. Like they're by the end, they're a completely different character almost.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, light spoilers, this is not the last bit that Foss loses of themselves.
I've seen this spoiler. I'm not gonna
Yeah. They lose a pretty prominent part.
Yeah.
Of themselves.
I feel like I have a
Very
guess,
noticeable.
but I'm not gonna say anything
for the listeners.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. But yeah, ending thoughts. I think I'd really suggest it. I'd give it a 9.
Cole gives it a 9. I would give it a 9 as well.
I'm gonna be the dissenting voice here. I'm gonna give it a 7.5.
Wow, you have horrible taste.
It has amazing visuals, amazing sound. The story I didn't really like as much as you guys did, but it's still really good.
Okay, I didn't realize we could do 0.5. I'm actually putting it at an 8.5.
Okay,
I forgot about that. So the AniList official score.
You mean AniPro official score?
What did I say?
AniList.
You said AniList.
God, why do I even talk sometimes, guys?
Well, the AniList official score is 83, and the AniPro official score is.
We got an 8.33 repeating.
I think that's fair.
83. So that is certified 83 out of 100. 83 out of 100 phosphophylite noises.
Out of 10.
Yes. Yeah. Let's go through our ending spiel.
That's what
the script says.
Tell us where they can find you.
You can find me in your local gas station
No, not that
Begging
place.
for money.
No.
Oh, no. Sorry. You can find me on Twitter. My Twitter is at AniProCole. That's ANIPROCOLE. Jay, what's your Twitter?
You can find me at jaygaredian, JayGareDian. Mike, where can the lovely people at home find you?
If you guys care about me at all, you can find me at GrittyGundam, Gritty Gundam on Twitter. Also, you can find the whole of AniPro at the AniPro Twitter, which you can find at ANIPROPOD. Please do that.
That's right.
It's a good follow. Jay does a good job running our Twitter. And you can do
What are you talking about? I pay an intern to do that.
Oh, right.
Of course.
Yeah. The highest paid member of the podcast.
Yeah. The intern.
Yeah.
Interns famously paid.
Yes. You know how you can really help us out, though? If you could, wherever you're listening to or watching this, like, review, subscribe, whatever you can possibly do to support the show, please do that. And above all else, come to our Discord. We have a Discord. The link is in our link.tree.
/AniProPod.
Yeah. Or you could probably find it in the description of where you're listening or watching this. Please do.
And
we love interacting with people, and you can come leave a mailbag or come look at memes or send music, or there's many things you can do there.
Yeah.
Come talk to me, because I'm very,
Lonely.
very lonely.
So
And
lonely.
if you're watching this on YouTube, and maybe this might be a YouTube premiere, and if it is, do you like YouTube premieres? Do you want us to keep doing them?
Yeah, and comment best gem in the comments.
Yeah.
Cole, what are we doing next week?
I don't know.
Yeah, we're not really super sure.
We haven't really decided. It's definitely going to be either seasonal wrap-up or seasonal awards, or a combination of the two. We're beginning our end of season
discussions.
Yeah. Details still being ironed out.
Yeah. We still have to fist fight to decide what we're doing next week.
Yeah.
Oil wrestling.
Yeah, boys, it is hot in the studio. I need to open a window.
I'm
So
going
I think,
to do that. Yep.
Yeah, I think this is time to say bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.